I first started thinking of myself as a writer when I was five. I was a firstborn child, and for the first, I guess, almost 2 years, the only child. So I got a lot of maternal attention. My mom taught me the alphabet, and I had basic reading down before I entered kindergarten. So I was from the beginning, I was always sort of a little bit ahead of the game in terms of the use of words and reading and stuff like that. And when I was five, I decided that this is what was going to be the rest of my life. That I just loved the art and craft of writing. You mentioned that when was the first time you knew you were any good at it? I wasn't any good at it at five, quite obviously. Maybe I started to get a little bit better at it a few years later, but I was I was working at it and consciously orienting my life toward that from the time that I was 5 years old. I got my first typewriter when I was 7 or 8 and started sending stories out to magazines when I was 12. Magazines sent them all back, but I was, at that age, I was already submitting stories to magazines. As for when I was first aware of the news, actually relatively late in life. I lament now that I was growing up in Los Angeles during the '60s, and so many things were going on around me, in the immediate environment and around the country, and I really paid little attention to any of it. I have little memory of the moon landing, the Watts riot. I only remember Bobby Kennedy's assassination because I was in bed and my mother was watching television. I heard her scream as the news came on live. That's my memory of Bobby Kennedy. And Martin Luther King, when he died, I had no idea who he was. And my parents, threw me out of the room because I couldn't figure out why they were crying. So I had little awareness of the news, probably until Watergate. I think Watergate was when I began to pay, a little bit closer attention. And by this time, I'm 14, 15 years old, maybe, starting school. And, the Watergate hearings were must-see TV in that era. And I think that's when I first started paying any kind of attention to the news.